Hey guys, probably should turn off my fan. Alexa, turn off room fan.
Okay.
Guys, my life has changed. 100% sarcasm. It's changed forever. This one comment that I got from my last live stream on Japanese from Zero has changed everything, and I would like to share it with you right now. Oh, I'm sorry. I was watching this video on Islam for beginners because I've completely changed. You can see here this very convincing video. It's very popular. I mean, 16,000 people have watched it. It's amazing. And Islam Net video is very popular. So it's just, if it wasn't so popular, I don't think I would be convinced. But let's go ahead and just look at this thing that someone sent me. I think it's amazing. This is a comment. I don't know what all of this means because I don't speak Arabic, or nor do I read. What is that even called? It's not Cyrillic. I don't know. I forget what. I don't know what this language is called. This writing. Is it just called Arabic? I don't know. I didn't look at any of these videos, but maybe I should. But they're all copyright protected, so. So let's just look at this comment. Let's break it down. Say, 1. He is Allah, the one and unique. Allah, who is in need of none, and of whom all are in need. He neither begot any, nor was he begotten. This is so convincing. So let's see, what's wrong with this? 1, 2, 3. Why is the 4 up here? Let's see here. Let's go to Google Translate. Because 4 isn't there. Someone. Maybe because there are none in need. I don't understand. Okay, let's just go to Google Translate here. This is what I'm dealing with right here. 当当来自 something 法. Oh, it's right down there. 来自 Kufa. All right, let's see. Wait from Kufa. Yes. Yes, Kufa. 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 That, I think I was saying it wrong. Kufa. 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 Okay, let's get back to this. So there's this whole explanation. Let me just go ahead and let's just quickly go through this. Oh my God. How is it so long? But it's trying, okay. The polytheists in every age have adopted the concept that, like men, gods also belong to a species. Braces are not making it easy. Which also has many members, and they also get married, beget, and are begotten. They did not even regard Allah, Lord of the universe, as supreme and above this concept of ignorance, and even proposed children for him. Thus, the Arabian belief, as stated in the Quran, was that they regarded the angels as daughters of Allah. The prophetic first of all, I have no idea what this means, first of all. And I think it's very assumptuous to say Allah is the Lord of the universe. How do you know that? Except for the book that you're reading that says it's the book. I don't know. I'm sure I don't know what to do with this, honestly. This is what I don't understand. Who thinks that sending this is going to convince anyone to believe in anything at all? I mean, I could send you back why Jesus Christ is the Lord Almighty, and it wouldn't convince you, no matter how many quotes I give you from Anisa 171. Allah is only one deity. He is Tartu. Okay, let me just make sure I'm reading this right. Where did it go? Here we go. Allah is only one deity. He is Tar, too exalted that he should have a son. Whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth belongs to him. That's, of course, we all know from Anissa 171. Note it well. They, in fact, invent a falsehood when they say Allah has children. They are utter liars. The fact that this is part of the you need to believe in Allah, I don't even believe in Allah, much less that I think or even worry about him having children. I don't understand. You guys that believe in religion, come on, please. Please. If you think your religion is everything and you believe it, but yet you look at other people's religion and you go, that looks so stupid and so dumb. What do they believe? Oh my God, no. Actually, it's Allah that's the God. If you can look at someone else's religion and find it ridiculous, you need to look at your own religion, because everyone else looking into your religion has the exact same feeling. It's mutually dumb. I do not believe it's possible for anyone that believes their religion, their whatever the name, XBD religion, whatever that religion is, they don't look at XBC religion and go, you know, that makes sense. Yeah, no, you're right. I'm right too. We're both right. Both things are mutually correct. Okay. No, it's one or nothing in all of religions. Oh, I hate religion. And I have friends that believe in God and then tell me they don't believe in religion. I was like, you know what? You do. It doesn't matter that you have twisted the original religion that you heard about. You believe in something that is unprovable except for anecdotal evidence in your head. And you felt it. Yes. You know, I don't tell this story publicly, but I have been visited by aliens. Legitimately, in my mind, either the devil, which I initially thought it was, and then later on I thought to believe it was aliens, visited me. Yeah, it seems crazy, but in my brain I justified it to that. And why? Let me tell you why it was originally the devil. Because I believed in God at the time. Okay? I was 9, and I moved to Georgia for the summer to be with my mother, my biological mother, which I had no memory of. My dad sent me out to be with my mother, who is extremely religious. And I didn't have religion before I was 9. I wasn't religious. I didn't believe in God. And then I went to Georgia, to Norman Park, Georgia. If you know what I'm talking about, I think it was the Norman Park First Baptist Church. And I got moved. My mother made me read the Bible every day. It was kind of an option. You can either take a nap or you can read the Bible. So, of course, what did I do? I read the Bible. I didn't want to take a nap. I was 9. And I started reading the Bible. I went from Genesis, Exodus, I forget the third one. But I was reading it, and I believe I got through, all the way through to Revelations. Okay? Now, I remember even having questions like, what do you mean? The angels were fighting in the street? Why would angels fight? These were questions that I had and I would ask my mother. It would bother me, and I would ask my mother. And she always had something. And then I went and I gave my life to the Lord. This is what I did when I was 9. When they ask at the Sunday service, does anyone here want to give their life to the Lord, or however that goes down? I raised my hand and I walked forward and I said, I give my life to the Lord. Slapping all of my peers, all of the people around me, validating the religion that I now began to believe. And then the next Sunday, I get baptized. And I remember it was a miracle. When I came out of that baptism, I remember when I left the church, everything was brighter and more clear. It was a miracle, like God had talked to me somehow. I'm not even making this up. This is how at the time I interpreted it, and I have no other interpretation. Okay? Then I don't remember the exact day, but another day, I was after my baptism, okay, when I had now given my life to the Lord. I was in my room reading the Bible, and I got tired, so I thought I would take a nap. But I wanted to be cute, so I laid my head on the Bible like this. I fell asleep on the Bible. And that's when the devil first visited me. Has George gone crazy? No. This has always been the story of my life. So I understand how people are religious. I get it, because you can make whatever unknown thing happens to you, you can attribute it to the facts that you have. At 9, my facts were there's a God, there's a devil, and I'm reading the Bible every single day. And my wife, my mother is very religious. So that's my influence. It makes total sense that when I was in Norman Park, Georgia, I believed in God. And guess who still believes in God? I have a brother, a half brother, same mother, different father. He's very religious. He thanks God all the time in his Facebook, right? Now, so let me tell you what happened with my devil visit. The devil visited me. So my body froze. Now later in life, by the way, I learned a lot more about what all this is, okay? But my body froze and I couldn't move. It's called sleep paralysis. It happens to people. It's a phenomenon that happens to people, where basically it's almost like the body fell asleep, but the mind was still conscious and awake. My body falls asleep, and I can't move, but I'm very well aware, and there's this pounding sound in my ear going, woo, 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 and it's overriding. It's very scary, and I sense a presence next to me. There's something next to me, some small being that I don't feel them or anything. They're there, and all of these font like hieroglyphic letters are going into my face like this. They're just coming, which is weird because I'm a polyglot now and I'm totally into languages, and I'm going to add a little bit to that in a second, because I wasn't planning on making this a long story. This was just a quick me making fun of someone sending me religious stuff, but I'm now going to go to a little bit more detail. Anyway, all these, maybe it was the Arabic, I don't know, it was like hieroglyphic stuff was flying into my face. I'm 9, so it's not like I've watched a ton of movies. It's 1983 or 1981. So it's not like, I had access to the internet. This is random stuff happening in my dream, in my vision. So all of this stuff, and I hear everything is getting loud. It's just like all this language. I hear all this language in my head, like it's getting delivered to me, right? And then that presence is there, right? And also it's not only just hieroglyphics and language. It's also like Maybelline commercials, and people talking random conversations everywhere. It's very jumbled what I can hear. And then this being crashes into my side. It just goes boom, and I remember feeling like I was shaking. I don't know if I was shaking, but in my mind I was shaking. I was like a bell, like you hit the bell, and I was like, and then I remember I just took my hands together and I said, in my mind at least, because I don't know if I did it when I was awake. I don't know if I did it physically, but I said, Jesus Christ, save me, or something like that. And I woke up. He did save me. He pulled me out. Okay? Now, I told my mom about it. And my mom was like, they speak through the voice of babes. There was something she said that made that okay. And she's like, he's teaching you. You're getting all of the knowledge now. And it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. First time I've ever had that experience. Never had it before. Okay? Now, go back to Las Vegas. And it seems like every time I read the Bible, I get sleep paralysis. At least it's happened enough to where I tie reading the Bible to sleep paralysis. To the devil coming. I shouldn't say sleep paralysis, because at that time it was the devil's coming. Okay? So I stopped reading the Bible. I figured it's too scary to read the Bible because there's some spirit or the devil trying to stop me. I moved to Japan. I'm 12. I moved to Japan. I did not expect this to become a story time, but it's a story time. Okay? It's a real life. I'm not making it up, and I'm not exaggerating, and I've told other people this in private, so they can vouch that it's the exact same story as much as I. Of course, through the lens of time, you do change things, but I'm not aware that I've changed it. Okay? Now, I go to Japan. I'm 12. And I start ninja hunting. I call it ninja hunting, where I would go outside in socks, dressed up in black. Now, if you saw that video a long time ago where I put the t-shirt on my head and fold the arms back into a ninja, that literally was what I did. I it made sense to me at the time. But me and my friend Carl did it initially, where we would go out and ninja hunt. We called it ninja hunting. And we would just like skulk around places. One night, I remember there was an airport nearby, a small little local airport, Misawa Airport. We drove our bicycles up to there, and we were like terrorists almost. Like we were like hiding in the bushes. The security car stopped right near us at one time and looked, but we didn't move, and they didn't see us. It was like the best thing to ever happen to us. Anyway, we did that, and we would always get like big holes in our socks, whatever. So I was always doing that, right? And time goes on, and get a little bit older. I'm starting, to get back into like figuring out what my religion is. I don't remember all the details, but I eventually at one point I have a girlfriend named Saori. Okay, I really loved Saori. I still love her to this day because she's like a fantastic girl. She's married, she's got kids. We still talk on Facebook. Okay, but it's kind of nice to know someone from that early age. She was my first true girlfriend. Okay, Saori, and she got me into the Baptist church in Misawa City. So I would go to the church with her, just as friends initially. And it was actually at that church where I remember I wrote in the Bible on a piece of note, "I love you," and I handed it. I passed the Bible over to her, and she wrote back with, "I like someone else," or something like that. And I was like, ah. So there's the other guy that she liked, and I said basically to I said, let me know when you can forget that other guy, because I like you, And she, by the side story, that night she called me and said, "Okay, I'm ready." So we started dating. Anyway, so she was Baptist, and I had a newspaper route where I delivered the Stars and Stripes, which is the military newspaper, to the military families living off base. But all of the base housing was really spread out. So I had this really long route, okay? Now, on this route, there was a Jehovah's Witness missionary family that I delivered the paper to. So I became friends with them, and they would invite me, and they were really nice, honestly. And they were really great. And I still have their contact number. I've talked to them like 30 years after those times. I have talked to them. Their son's name was Bradley. He's an adult now. Still very religious, very Jehovah's Witness. But the Jehovah's Witness actually would also answer questions. I had questions at the Baptist church. I had questions at the Jehovah's Witness family. And funny story, the Jehovah's Witness always answered the best. I was this close to really believing about the Jehovah's Witness thing. I think the only thing that really stopped me was they don't believe in birthdays. And they don't believe in blood transfusion. I just thought that was weird, right? Anyway, they made the best tea. So I always went. Trust me, snowing in the winter with all that snow, you're gonna stop in a place. Anyway, so we have two right now. We have Baptist influence. By the way, my father's Catholic influence, but he would not push religion on me. So I never was very strong in religion until I went to Baptist church in Norman Park and gave my life. So you've got Baptist with my girlfriend Saudi. You've got Jehovah's Witness on my newspaper route. Then I was also friends with the Mormons because they taught English. They taught English in Japan, and I made some Mormon friends, and I would go help them teach English. And I remember one day, I don't remember the time span that we're talking, but this was I was around 17, and I was really screwed up about religion, trying to figure it all out, because it didn't mesh. What the Jehovah's Witness said didn't match what the Baptist said. What the Baptist said didn't match what the Mormons said. None of them matched. I mean, the Mormons had a whole different story. There was the 3 days of darkness when Jesus Christ was crucified, but in America, it was 3 days of light. Good logic, Joseph. Who, if you read anything up on this Joseph character, I'm sure it's all the devil making it up, But if you read anything about this Joseph character, he'd failed multiple times to try to do something with religion, and then he finally succeeded with Mormonism, and everyone's like, "That's the one, you got it, we all believe you." I don't understand religion at all. Now, so you got the Mormons. Now, the Mormons, I remember, were also very kind. And actually, out of all the religions that have that I've encountered that have missionaries, I like Mormons the most. And Mormons, the co-author of Korean from Zero is Reed. He's Mormon. And one of my early tour guide buddies who trained me, his name was Kyle. He was also Mormon. He was awesome. Literally, Mormons have been very awesome. They're very, relaxed, and they never ever push their religion, which I love about the Mormons, although they're crazy. Like, the religion itself does not make logical sense. But I remember one day I said, guys, I have questions about God. Okay, and they sat. This is a weird movie moment, but they sat me in a chair. I sat in a chair, and they walked around me in a pacing motion like this as they contemplated my questions, which I don't remember any of what they were. Okay? There's another moment with another girl right before Saudi, if I remember correctly. Her name was Tokuko. And Tokuko, I'm still friends with her too, by the way. She was actually my official first girlfriend, but it was really not a long thing. It was so short, okay? But near her house, there was a Pentecostal church, okay? And they speak in tongues. And I walked in on that once because I was like, oh, wait, hang on one second here. Because I'm trying to find God. I'm trying to figure this out. And I went inside that church and I walked the F out. Because this is what it was. Are you kidding me? These people think they're speaking tongues? Oh my God. The thing that the brain will do to form an opinion and stick to it is amazing to me. And before I'm going to keep continuing, but I want to let you know, I do have a religion. There is a belief that I hold that I have no proof on, only anecdotal evidence, okay? So I'm just as guilty. I'm not saying religion is stupid. I'm saying religion is stupid. I'm saying religion is stupid. But I'm saying, even in those breaths of me saying that, I have a belief. Now, so, when I did my newspaper route, I always saw what I, in my brain at that time, just thought were ninja. It's these strange beings outside the corner of my eye. They're very tall. They're like 8 to 9 feet, and they're just shadowy, kind of, right? And I would look and they'd be gone, but I always imagined they were there, and I even talked to them. Oh, by the way, I'm going to take a quick step back. I wasn't your normal kid, okay? If you look at the way I love languages now, it's always been like that. When I was 12, this is after being with my mother, I made my own writing system. Who the hell does that? I made an ABC, an alphabet replacement system, and there was these, you know, the belt of Orion, Orion's belt in the sky, those 3 stars in a row. Well, the star above that I call Serax, and the star below that I call Corona. And my name was Mr. Magic when I was 12, and I used to write the M on my thing, and I'd wear this purple robe, and I had a chain, and I was Mr. Magic. And I used to write letters to these aliens on Corona and Serax, and I even used to draw all the animals that were on Serax. And I had certain colors that I would use with my crayons. It was crayons, and I even had like this particular creature lives. I forgot what they call it. It lives off of the blood of this creature. You know, it like they're there's a word for it, a very biological word for it. Just what I believe. See, that's with lack of religion. I invented some crazy stuff, right? And then I would write those letters. And I would float them down the gutter or in the there's a little river near I used to live, I was in Vegas at that time. And there was this wash, the Las Vegas wash or something like that. And I would float that, and I thought they would get if I floated this letter that I wrote. And I always kept my decoder of what my current alphabet was in my pocket. It was that important to me. Thank non-existent God that I went to Japan. Because when I went to Japan, Japan stopped me from being one crazy guy. Because all this stuff I believed as a kid, Japan became my replacement for that language decoder on my back, and I learned hiragana and katakana and kanji, right? So Japan saved me from being the crazy lunatic I was going to be. Because think about it, the human brain is firing 1 million shots a second, you know? It's doing all of this stuff. What we say consciously and what we do, what we think of consciously that we recognize is only a very, very small fraction of what's happening behind the scenes, okay? Now, back to my story. So I was weird, but I had seen these ninja creatures, okay? Never direct on, but I always thought they were there. Always, okay? And then, One night, I had a very, actually, before that, I asked the Jehovah's Witnesses, what those creatures were, and I forgot what the answer they gave me, but there's a better thing that comes up after that. So this is what I just remembered. I told them that. I was supposed to say something like, in the name of Jesus Christ, blah, 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 I hereby forbid you from coming, or something like that. I was supposed to say that, but it didn't work. So anyway, one night, this is where it gets a little bit scary. This is where it stops being the devil for me, and it starts becoming an alien. Okay? This is where it happens. So I'd always been having those sleep paralysis events where it happens. It still happens to me. It still happens where, particularly if I'm very exhausted, okay, it happens where my body falls asleep, and then my brain is hearing the sound of my heart. It's like, it's really intense, and then I know there's a presence there. And even now I struggle. I don't call God anymore to wake up, but I can control my breathing at that point. I've learned this because my wife told me when it's happening. I can go, and I can break out of it. Okay. So, it happened again. It kept happening, right? This sleep paralysis. And I said to myself one night, I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna get to the end. I'm not gonna wake up this time. I need to find out what it is. Remember, this is the moment where I'm trying to find God, where I am desperately every day practically probably asking God for a sign. So it starts. And keep in mind, I believe in God at this time. So I said, okay, I'm going to the end. And I put a cross in my mind. Put this cross in my mind. And this light is shining from behind it, pulsing with that sound. It's really intense, right? And then I feel a presence again. It's on this side of me. I feel this presence. I don't see anything because I'm facing this direction. It's behind me. And by the way, the weird thing about this is where you think you are is a lot of times wrong. When it happens to me, this sleep paralysis thing, I'm not where I normally am. Sometimes I'm in a whole different place. And by the way, I've had astral projection rising out of my body. I've left my body. These are all things that have happened, right? Because of this thing. Later on in life, by the way, not at this time, because I'd never let it go at that point. I'm sounding crazy, right? But I'm telling you, this stuff, there is a lot we don't know about humans. Let me continue. So this thing is behind me, and it starts talking to me. It says in this little voice, he says, there's something we need to tell you. It's too soon, but you need to know. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I really am not. This is not made up, but I just now got chills because if you ask me what is the scariest moment in my life, I'll never tell you it was that moment because it's too much to explain. It's that moment. And maybe the birth of my second daughter. Okay. That moment is extremely scary for me. There's something we need to tell you. And I say to the being, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what you have to tell me. But you need to know. It's important and we need to tell you. And I call God. Jesus Christ, please wake me up. And I wake up. And by the way, when I wake up from these things, my body's pulsing. Like there's a pulsing in my body. I don't know what it is, but it's like with every few like breaths or something, it's on a regular basis. This electricity pulsing through my body. Okay. And by the way, my wife said she feels it, but she feels it when I don't feel it. It's the weirdest thing. When we used to sleep together, she said she could feel it, but like in between when I felt it. Oh, kanjita. So she feels it. Okay. She had a standing order to wake me up if my breathing got weird. Okay. Because it happens. Now, I am very frightened at that moment, and I don't ever, from that point forward, I said, I'm not going to the end of this thing again because I don't want to meet that being. Okay. Now, oh my God, do I want to go this far in the story? This story is long, guys. Are we okay with this? I know we're not really talking. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, at this time, obviously time. This is multiple years, and I'm only saying the big events, okay? But my father moves back to America. I start my import-export business. It's really only an import business into Japan. I'm 18. I'm living in an apartment in Shichinohe, and of course, I'm still having the events where I wake up though and call God and I wake up. But I start visiting my father back in the United States. Okay. Now this is right when I'm beginning my import-export business. I'm maybe 19, and I come back to Vegas. My father's living in an apartment building complex, and I talk a lot, right? We all know this. This is why I can sit here for 30 minutes and talk into this camera. So I am in the pool area. I swim in the pool area, in the indoor pool at this apartment. It was awesome. And then I'm in the manager's office bragging about what I'm doing to the manager, this older guy. I guess he's about my age now. He's like 45, and I was like, he's an older guy. So I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be printing T-shirts in Japan. Yeah, and I can export them out of Florida. And I'm talking about what I do, probably that level of a high-pitched voice, too. And it turns around 11 o'clock, and he says, well, hey, we got to close up the office. So so as I walk out into the other room, there's this tall, older gentleman in a security uniform. He says, I need to talk to you. I said, oh, okay. He says, listen, I sit down, he sits down, and because he's a security guard, probably this was a very dangerous thing for me to do, but I'm dumb and naive. It's just me and him in the building now, right? Nothing happened, of course. As much as I remember. Anyway, so he says, I need you to put a certain symbol on some T-shirt. This gets really weird, by the way. I'm sorry. I need you to put this T-shirt out with a certain symbol on it. You can make all the money from it. I just need to have a way for people to contact me. I'm like, keep in mind, this is pre-internet. There is no internet at this point, okay? And I said, well, what's the symbol? And he unbuttons his shirt, one button, and he pulls out this metallic emblem. And it's a circle that has a loop here and a loop here like a baseball, and then there's a plus in the middle. And I'm like, okay, what does it mean? He says, it's probably too early to tell you, but it just needs to go on the shirt. So I'm explaining to him, look, no, he wanted it on a poster. Because I was talking about making posters. I said, look, posters, back then the minimum run for a poster was $5,000. And I was like, it's too expensive to do posters. But we could do T-shirts. Of course, I know the guy is crazy. In my mind, I think he's crazy. So, and another thing, when you talk about doing business things, people gravitate towards you and they always want to be part of it. And I just thought he was one of those guys. And I'd always like, yeah, I'm fine, kind of a thing. You always have to like reject them in a nice way. Even now, people are very, very kind. People are always giving me ideas. You know what people say to me a lot? It's like, hey, have you ever thought, this is going out on a limb, have you ever thought about doing an app? Never thought about doing an app. Long story short. So he goes, hey, listen, I got to make my rounds. And I said, well, what does the symbol mean? He's like, it's a little bit too early to tell you. Like, oh, whatever. So, but I'm bored. I have no car. I'm 19. I'm staying at my dad's place. I'm bored, right? So I said, I'll walk around with you and we'll talk. So I'm walking with him. This guy's tall, by the way, really tall. And once we get outside, I say, you know what? I'm going to take a shot. This guy's just absolutely crazy. And I said, I know what the symbol means. He says, oh, you do? I said, it's alien related. That's what I said. Because I was being a shithead. I was being a kid, right? It's alien related. And he said, as we're walking, he's silent for a little bit. He's just walking. I want you to imagine the scene. 19-year-old kid, like 60-year-old man, walking in a dark parking lot of this apartment area. Okay? And I say, it's an alien. And he looks at me, keeps walking, doesn't look at me again, and says, I guess it wasn't too early to tell you. That's what he said. So I'm like, oh, it's aliens, is it? Ah, I see. So the guy then starts telling me, the world is not what you think it is. there's hidden powers in this world. By the way, the funny thing is, now that I'm relaying the story, I believe a lot more of this now than I used to. But there's hidden powers, and you can get whatever you want from this world if you just know how to attain that, pull from that power. No, that word pull power he never said. That was me adding to it. If you know how to use the power is what he said. And he said, look, he said, there are aliens all around us, and you can look in the night sky, and anytime you can find, he said, I could take you out to the lake in a boat where the sky is dark, and I could show you UFOs. Of course, he's probably trying to rape me now that I think about it, but at the time, I don't know. So he's talking that if I help relay the message of these aliens to the world, which, by the way, I'm doing kind of right now. If I relay this message to the aliens, I will get a reward beyond, anything I could ever want, So I'm like, oh, okay. And then, but I am not dumb, right? I'm fluent in Japanese. I started my own import company into Japan, and I'm living in Japan. I'm not your typical 19-year-old at that time. Jesus Christ. Inappropriate word for me to use there. So I said to him, I thought this guy is cheating me. He's going to find a way to cheat me. And I said to him, look, what kind of proof? Because he was saying I was chosen to help them. And I asked him, who chose me? He said, the ones above. That's what he said to me. And I said, okay, how do I know? You could just be saying that, right? You could just be saying I'm chosen, and then you trick me into giving you money or something. And he says, remember the dark beings you used to see out of the side of your eyes? We were watching you. He said that to me. And I had literally never basically told anybody that story. And there was no internet yet. So it's not like this was there was no, knowledge was not as easy to obtain at this time. And this guy pulled out something that was very personal to me, I thought. But I'm still not dumb. I'm still thinking, you know what? I had the presence of thought to think, maybe everybody sees these things, and I haven't talked to enough people to find out. So I said to the guy, I bet everyone sees those black things, and I just haven't talked to somebody about it, and you know about it because you're older and you have experience. Of course, I've made that sound a lot cooler, probably now, but back then that was the gist of what I said to him. I said, if you're going to get me to believe this, you're going to have to give me something that there's no way no one else has. And then he said, and I cried, for the record. And I smile not out of that I smile out of the nerving that when I tell a story like this, I smile not because I'm lying. Okay, for the record, it's just a nervous reaction for me. But he says to me, I said, I need something more personal. He says, remember that night that they tried to tell you something but you refused? And he was talking about that night where the being said they needed to tell me something, but it was too early. I get chills thinking about that moment. Is super scary. When he said that, and he says, we were watching you from then. He says, we were watching you from then. It was either we or they, and I don't remember which one it was. It's more cool if I say we, though. And I cry because that was it. There's no way anybody has had that in my mind, at least at that time. How could he know that? And I say, okay, what do we got to do? I'm like totally convinced. I'm crying and I'm emotional, and we're walking in the middle of the night at like almost midnight. And then he says, George, you've got to open up and feel the world around you. Feel the energy around you. And I said, I can't right now. I can't. I'm too blown away. Like, no one should know that. That's like, I told maybe 3 people. My dad doesn't know. No one knows. Okay? Because it's just embarrassing weird, right? So I said, I got to go. He says, look, well, let's meet up in a few more days. I'm like, okay. But he said, hey, before you go, I need to warn you. You're doing something in your life right now that's really dangerous and detrimental to you, and you need to stop. I said, what is it? All I'm doing is good things. I mean, I was on a crusade. I'll tell you in a second what that was, but I was on a crusade to stop a bad man. And he said, I don't know what it is, but you need to stop it. I said, okay, I'll think about it. So I go home and I can't sleep. I'm thinking about what, because I believe the guy. I completely believe the guy. Now, at this time in my life, I was only doing one thing. Now, this is a whole backstory that we never hear, okay? This is a backstory, slight backstory. I won't go too long. When I was 17, I got my first job as an interpreter for a guy that was in the military, and he had started an import-export business, and I was interpreting. I got the job. And I was not that good of an interpreter because I hadn't learned yet how to keep people in the loop. I was talk, and then he said this. But what I needed to do was, I needed to simultaneously interpret, but I wasn't doing it. So he made me a trade coordinator. And when I graduated high school, that was my first big job. I was selling T-shirts and all of these things that I talked about my own self importing, right? And I eventually was making big sales. I was going to one store and we would collect 30% of the money. And eventually I moved into an apartment with that guy, right? And we were running this company together, okay? Well, I was selling and he was doing everything. And this guy's name was Dan. And products were really late coming in. They would come in really infrequently. And he went back to the States for a bit. And because we lived in the apartment, and by the way, everything was fax. It's not like I needed a password to get into his stuff. And I could see faxes coming in. And they were coming in from Camino International, which was the trade, the freight forwarder. So the freight forwarder is like, where's our payment? Because he would send freight from America through the freight forwarder. It's a different time back then. We're talking almost 25 to 30 years ago. Something like that, right? So it wasn't like internet was connected and all that stuff. So it was fax. So I was like, wait a minute, what the hell? And then I was just putting it in the file, the Camino freight file, and I noticed other faxes back to Camino Freight because you used to have to write out a fax. We didn't have a computer to print it, so you would write it and you would fax it back. And he had all these lies. He was lying to Camino International. He said that our warehouse had a fire and our inventory was destroyed, and that's been slowing us down. We didn't have a warehouse. He completely had made that up. So then I'm thinking, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? I start looking into more in the files. I find Sprint phone cards, because that's how you used to have to make phone calls back then, was you'd have a phone card with looks like a credit card, and you type in your number into the phone. We're in Japan too, so you can't just have like a long distance carrier that you work with. And he had all these different cards with different names on them, like aliases. So I was like, this guy's a thief. This guy is totally robbing these people. These products haven't come. The Japanese people are all asking me where their product is, and I'm the one that took the money and gave it to Dan. So at that time I realized I'm an accomplice to this. So I started my journey on being a businessman, and I went to all of my Japanese people that I had taken the money from, and I said, look, I think Dan is ripping you off. He's taken the money. I said, he's lied to our freight forwarder. He's in the States right now. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to make this better for you. If you agree to pay the remaining 70%, I will get those products for you, because I knew we had margins on them and I knew we could do it. So I got a list of all of the contacts in America that Dan had from his folders. I was opening his mail. I was investigating like everything, right? And I called Dan while I was in Japan, and I let him know, don't you ever come back to Japan. I said, if you come back, I will have my mafia friends meet you. I said that, my Yakuza friends. I didn't have any Yakuza. I did know Japanese Yakuza through meeting them, but they weren't my friends. I had met them at certain points, and I have stories of Yakuza, but there's no like, I got a friend that'll take your finger off, but I was making him feel like I had that. So I told Dan that if he comes back to Japan, I will have him beat up by the mafia, by the Yakuza, right? Because I thought he was a complete thief, okay? And I got every one of those companies agreed to deal with me. And I even got them to pay me money up front, the remaining 70%, because I didn't have any cash at all. I said, I need the money. So unfortunately, I don't have the money to do this, okay? So they all did that. I went back to the States, and that's when I met that man. That's what I was doing. And if you ever saw me read the memory box, there was a time where I opened up a memory box, and I have this big stack of this note of what I was doing every day. I was writing it on the computer on WordPress, and I would print it out and I would put it in my binder. That's the notes from that time. That's me getting in contact with all of the distributors, getting catalogs, getting terms with them, everything, right? That's all I was doing. And the only thing I could think that I was doing was that I had lied to Dan about that he couldn't go back to Japan. I had prevented him from going back. I don't know if I prevented him, but obviously it was over, right? For me and him, and I was the guy that spoke Japanese for him. He didn't speak any Japanese. So the next day, believing what that man said, believing what the alien chosen man said to me, I called Dan. I said, Dan, I'm sorry. Look, you can go back to Japan. I don't have Yakuza friends, and I guess I just got scared because my name was on all of those invoices, and I don't know. I don't remember this exact conversation, but it probably went like, I don't know. I'm a lot more forgiving of people now in my life, so I don't know if I would have said it like this before, but I did say sorry. And I would hope I would have said, look, I don't know the situation, but it seemed like you were stealing. That's something I think I would say now, but probably not then. I don't know. So anyway, Dan says, you are so lucky. Because me and Dan were really good friends. Dan was great. Dan was the first guy that got me pushing further away from religion because he showed me Ayn Rand. That was the first time I read Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged. And he talked about that. And I finally watched that movie a couple years ago, and it's fantastic. I love it. Anyway, he's the first guy that showed me there's other ways of thinking that aren't religion-based. And he introduced me to thinking in other ways. And he was a deep thinker in that sense. But he said, you're so lucky. I was getting ready to sue you in court. You can go to jail for what you did. And there was a term for it, I forget. I usurped his customers, right? I usurped his customers, and it was a federal offense to open people's mail. So even though I was in Japan, I don't know how that plays out, but I was opening up his mail, and I was stealing his customer list. It was like corporate something or other, you know. So I as a 19-year-old, I could not have withstood that. I would have lost because I did do it, right? And I'm not the kind of guy that can lie so openly like that, right? Where I could just say, nah, man, I didn't do that. He's lying, you know. So that guy was right again. He was right again. So I meet him a few days later, and this time we're walking. We're just walking, we're talking. He did, by the way, at one point bring VHS tapes to my house to look at the UFOs that he had taken, but I couldn't see anything on the tape. And I remember back in the day there was 2-head and 3 and 4-head VHS players, and mine was a 2-head, and I just tracked it to that. I thought, I can't probably see, because there was all this footage that he had shooting up, but they're tiny. They're not like these big ones that they always see, so they're tiny. But he brought a bag of VHS tapes with UFO footage, but I couldn't see even one UFO. I don't know if that was later or before, but anyway, this particular day we were walking. This is the second time I think I met him, so it must have been later that he brought the UFOs in a bag. And he says, you got to open your mind, you got to feel the energy around you. And I'm like, okay. I don't feel anything. Dude, you got to really concentrate, and you got to open your heart, and you got to let in the energies. So I'm trying, and I'm not feeling anything. He's like, just let it go. Open your mind. So we're walking, and we get near the main office, and all of a sudden, I feel something. I get a chill in my body. My whole body goes, so I feel an energy. He says, stop, look around. So I look around, and I don't know what it was, but there was a dead palm tree right where, like literally in front of us. This big palm tree. It was the only dead palm tree in the entire area, and it got removed a few days. I guess that's what that was. Okay. And I don't know if it was that day or another day, but we were walking, I think it was the same day. We're walking and we're talking randomly, and I'm still like, he keeps reminding me, keep your mind open. And I get a super, really bad feeling. Like it comes into me like not, I wouldn't say death. It turns out it was death, but just this dread feeling. And we didn't know what it was then, but we kept track of where we were. What apartment were we at? What apartment number were we in front of? Okay. And Joseph, I was at my father's place. He had VHS. I had VHS and Betamax for the story authenticity there, okay? My father did not have Betamax because I took it from him, and by then Betamax wasn't as popular as VHS. Okay, now, so this death feeling comes over, this dread feeling come over, and a few days later he shows me an article of the person who lives in that apartment, a young woman who had a husband and a 2-year-old daughter or son, I don't remember. And they had the father got in a drunk driver hit them at the intersection, actually fairly close to the apartment. Okay, the father was killed instantly, and the son or the daughter was thrown from the car, but initially was okay, and got up and was walking, got hit by another car apparently, and died. That's where that mother lived. That's what I felt. Now we have more discussions after this. We talk about logistics. I was getting ready to go back to Japan. So me and him even created a word. It says, if I see you again, I want to make sure you're the right guy. He says, well, if I ever meet you again, this is the word. And I have not revealed this word to anybody. We have a code word that I know for this guy. I'll never see him again, most likely, okay? That we're talking 20-some years ago, okay? I'm not going to see this guy again. 27 years ago. But anyway, I go back to Japan, okay? And I'm with my girlfriend, at the time was Yoko, okay? Not Saori anymore. It's Yoko now. I broke up with Saori. And it's Christmas. And we're having a really great time at my friend Chris's house party, okay? We're just having fun. And as you know, this is a little bit racy, but as you know, in Japan, on Christmas, couples go to love hotels to do the nasty. And that was our plan. But normally, you have to have reserved a hotel. They get reserved months in advance. So you can't just randomly go to a hotel. But I'm like, yeah, let's try. So we get in the car and we drive. We go from place to place to place to place. And there is no love hotel available. But we keep driving and we find this one that has 3 rooms available. It's in this back end of this forest area. Because I'm in Aomori, which literally means blue forest. Everything's forest. But this particular love hotel was, we driven for a while. It was just surrounded by trees, right? So we go, the old lady gives us the key. We go inside. And these places are pretty awesome. Like you park your car and they hide your number and everything. It's all very, very awesome. And you go in, it's beautiful, like chandeliers and nice bed and karaoke. But we get in and we immediately start fighting. We had a great night the whole time. And keep in mind, you're there to do things, so it should be, you're not fighting, right? You should be ready to go, right? So we start fighting over the stupidest thing. And then we're angry, and then we try to, it's okay, let's just forget it. Let's just try to do this thing. Basically that's what I was thinking. Because obviously, I was like, I think I was 18 and she was like 17. She was like, or she had turned 18 and I was 19. There was like that kind of an age difference. She was super cute, for me at least at the time. Anyway, so I'm ready to go, and I'm trying to keep this PG as much as possible. But let's just say, that didn't happen. The goods didn't happen for me. First time in my life, and it's actually never happened. Like, I couldn't get excited for some reason. And she falls asleep, and I'm just kind of laying there. Like, what the hell? Like, we didn't do anything. So I'm laying there on my back, right? I'm laying there on my back like this. Just thinking, why are we fighting, And I was kind of zoning out. And then I get that feeling that I had in the apartment complex. And this feeling of dread washes over me. And I swear to God, you cannot make this up. Actually, you can make it up. But this is exactly what happened. That chandelier, which we had on dim, it did that thing that happens in movies where it went zzz, but it didn't make the noise. It just went zzz, and the light dimmed like to that sound, but that sound wasn't there. And I was like, oh my God, there's some, and then I remembered everything that happened in America with that guy. And I said, something has happened here. And I wake Yoko up and I tell her everything I just told you. I tell her the entire story up until that point, and she starts to cry, and we get out. We leave. I remember the lady was like, you're leaving? Because we had paid for the entire night. She's like, well, here's some coupons. I was like, we don't need your coupons. We're never coming back. I knew there was something evil there. So, time goes on. I moved back to the United States. I hadn't really thought about that man. My sleep, because this is only through the scope of time that I can look back on all these incidents and tie them together. It wasn't like a huge part of my life. It was just a thing. Now I come back to the States. I think I'm 21. Okay. And I'm living with my father. This story is a little bit long. I'm going to tie it all together, though, I promise. And it is about religion in a sense, and how you can believe anything. You can make up anything. Trust me, especially when everyone around you believes it. Especially when the people you trust most in life, your parents, who are your number one influence, tell you about it. But anyway, back in the United States, I'm living with my father. My father's kind of an ass. I mean, he just really is. He's not like, he's kind of an ass. I love him, but he's kind of an ass. So I'm living with him, and I become a tour guide for Japanese people. And I start doing these tours to Death Valley. And I start learning about all of these hieroglyphs and stuff. You know, there's all these hieroglyphs in Valley of Fire, in Death Valley. In Death Valley, they have one that literally looks like a UFO, written 4,000 years ago. The Anasazi Indian have these hieroglyphs that they haven't really translated in Valley of Fire, but they give you examples of what they mean. And it's just like, you know, it's kind of cool. It's really cool. But the Anasazi Indians disappeared, you know. It's like really it's mysterious, right? No one knows where they went. One day in Death Valley, I was with these two girls because I'm a hound dog and I liked these two girls. And I said, let's stay all night. So we're going to watch stars. Because I lived in Aomori, I was very used to looking at stars because the night's really dark there. And we had brought blankets to go. It's these two sisters. I'm still really good friends with them. They live in Nagata. I still go hang out with them. I stay in that girl's house. And we meet up with all the people from that area. They even came to my wedding. Like that's how old friends they are. But that night I was not married yet, and I was with those girls, and we had laid out the blanket on the top of Dante's View in Death Valley. It's 1,669 meters or something like that above the valley, and you're in Death Valley. There's literally no lights for an area the size of like Tokyo times 4.5. That's how I remember the size. It's 4.5 times the size of the Tokyo metropolis, right? It's huge. No lights, no moon. It's pitch dark. The Milky Way is visible. And we're there to look for satellites. That's what I was doing. Because in Aomori, you could see satellites and you could find one and you would just track it. Well, I thought I found one. But then as I'm watching it, it stops midair. It just immediately stops. And then it does this loop thing in the air, and then stops. And then does an arc, and then stops, and then loops, and then disappears, shows up over here, and stops again. It's doing this. We watch it for 45 minutes. It's very tiny, by the way. It's like a star moving, a little bit dim, really. It's just like all of the satellites I had seen. You can literally, by the way, if you ever go outside, you can find satellites moving across the sky if the sky is dark enough. That's all we were looking for. So I'm like, it's a UFO. It's an unidentified flying object. It doesn't mean it's an alien. It just means we don't know what it is. Now, you have to keep in mind, Death Valley is surrounded by the Navy military air base, Area 51. There's all of these secret military installations around Death Valley. The longest, what the hell is it called? Where the airplane lands. Air road. Runway. The longest runway in the world is at Area 51, and you can see it when you're on the highway. You can actually glimpse it a little bit, right? But they own all that land. Like, it's all prohibited land except for this Death Valley area. Okay, I've even seen, side note, I've seen a stealth air fighter, a B-2 bomber getting refueled over Death Valley, and I've seen F-15 fighters do chasing maneuvers with each other literally over Death Valley. I don't know why they would choose to do that, but it was like super loud. It was irritating, but it was really awesome. So that's the kind of area I'm in. So I come home and I tell my dad, Dad, I saw a UFO. And he goes, he makes fun of me because he's an ass. And from that point forward, he often refers to me as UFO boy. He calls me UFO boy. And he went, tell everybody about that UFO you saw in Death Valley. He doesn't talk like that, but he might as well. So I start getting into this whole UFO thing, and I started listening to Art Bell. Art Bell has this show called Coast to Coast, where they talk about weird phenomena. They talk about UFOs. They talk about aliens. They have people coming on talking about the face on Mars. It's all this conspiracy stuff, right? This is actually where I learned that what I had happened to me was sleep paralysis. And apparently that's how you astral project. All of that. Like, I learned all of that from that show. So I go up to his website all the time. It's the first time I'm on the internet. I just put a 28.8 Texas Instruments modem into my computer. It's amazing. I can go on this internet. And literally there's not a lot of websites back then. Art Bell was all I ever knew. So I went to Art Bell or coasttocoast.com, and I would print stuff from there, and I would, on my Death Valley tour, I would start talking about the cool alien things, right? So I start telling Japanese people about aliens, okay? And I start making it part of my story that I saw a UFO in Death Valley. And it's all part of the charm of that tour, because everyone knows about the Area 51. I learned more about Area 51 watching Japanese TV on it, because they're fascinated by it. You know, there's these planes that fly out of the airport. I learned from Japanese TV, they fly out of McCarran Airport here. They're pure white with one red line. They have no airline affiliation and no numbers on them. They secretly fly every day. 4 of those fly in from Las Vegas to Area 51 to bring the employees in. And I learned about that from that show. So the Japanese know about it too. They know about all that stuff. So you talk about that stuff and they're into it. And then I also had a night tour. And on my night tour, I'd also bring my binder. I would talk about sleep paralysis. I would talk about all that because I was fascinated by it. It was fun for me. And they would all have stories too. And guess what? They all had beings in their thing too. They all had beings in their sleep paralysis. But it was different based on what they believed. Some people, a big majority, think it's like their dead grandmother or their dead grandfather. Another person said there was a pig. I remember this one funny morning. I was talking about her about sleep paralysis. We were going to the airport, and she said she had a pig sat on her chest when she had that sleep paralysis, which was hilarious because she literally had a pig animation shirt on, and we all laughed so hard. Like, were you wearing that shirt? Anyway, funny moment. So everyone's got their experiences of sleep paralysis. So that's when I started thinking. That's probably the first time I started thinking, wow, maybe it wasn't aliens. Maybe it's just my brain is auto-completing. I'm looking for meaning where there is none. It's just a phenomenon of the brain. I don't know, right? But anyway, I start telling every night on a night tour. I'm telling them about this man in a very much more condensed version because I don't have that much time. I'm telling them about this story all in Japanese, and they're loving it. It's great. And this is Circus built in 1965. Okay, back to my alien story. You know, it was like there was a lot of downtime when you're on the highway, so I tell it to them. And there was this one house. I'm going to tie it up, I promise. There's this one house. I used to take them before there was this big tower where you could see the stars. I mean, the lights. The Stratosphere Tower is where you take them nowadays. But back then, I used to take them to a place called Sunrise Mountain. Okay? Take them to Sunrise Mountain. And I would walk them up this mountain and say, don't look back. We'd stop at the 7-Eleven, get chocolate milk. And I'd say, don't turn around until I say turn around. We'd get them up there, and then I'd turn them all around at once. It was like fantastic. They loved my night tour. I always got rave reviews on it because they turn around, they go, oh, what? Because the whole town just like lays out because you're on the rim of the valley looking down. It's beautiful, right? You can't get there anymore. By the way, first date with my wife was there. Anyway, so after that, we would head down the street called Hollywood. After coming from that mountain. And there's this amazing house there. It's getting ready to tie together. This house ties it together. This is amazing house. It's so beautiful, like luxurious. It's got palm trees going all up to it. It's like this. It's like an amazing estate. So I'd always have the bus, this big bus, stop there like a Hollywood tour, and I say, I don't know who lives here, but look at how amazing this house is. They're all taking photos and everything like that. It's kind of fun. And I wanted to know who lived there. So one day I asked my dad, who is a real estate broker. I said, Dad, do you know that house on Hollywood? That really big house? Do you know who lives there? Is that someone famous? He goes, hey, why don't you sit down? He did Chris Hansen to me. He's like, why don't you sit down? This is my dad, by the way. My dad is no nonsense, ever. He does not have this imaginary thing. He sits me down. I'm smiling because I know what's coming. This is fun. For the first time hearing this story, I think it's really fun. All right. my dad says, hey, I need to apologize to you. I want you to know, my father has never apologized to me in my entire life except for that day, and he never has after that. And I want to tell you how much he needs to apologize to me, because we were playing checkers when I was a kid. I was maybe 12, and I was winning. And if you know the rules of checkers, you know, red and black, and you jump over, but you can only go one direction until you get to the end, and then you get queened or kinged, and then you can jump backwards. He said to me, because I'm black, right, there's a rule. I don't know if you know this rule. Black can jump backwards when they have no other options. I said, that's not a rule. I have no internet, of course, to check, because that didn't exist. So my dad says that rule, and I'm like, fine, I'm going to outsmart you is what I was thinking. And I didn't, and he jumped 3 of my pieces backwards. And I got so mad, I flipped the board, and I went to my room. I was so mad. And until this day, I swear to God that doesn't exist. He says that is a rule. He's never apologized for that. Okay? That's my dad. But my dad today, that day, was apologizing to me. He said, sit down, I need to talk to you. I'm sorry I called you UFO boy. Okay? Said that house, and says, you know the guy that, by the way, at this point, he was managing a building, and I was always in that building. And eventually, we were teaching Japanese in the building, and all of the early Georgian Keiko shows were shot in this building. So I'm very familiar with who was in this building. Okay, so there's he says, you know the guy up in 202 or whatever the room he was in. I said, oh yeah, the guy that always has a gun strapped to him. He's this guy named, I don't remember the guy's name, but he had a gun strapped to him all the time in the building. He was always packing. He said he's a bodyguard, and he rents that room. He's a bodyguard. He's a bodyguard for John Lear. I'm like, John Lear? He says, what? I felt like I had heard that name before. He says, it's like Lear Jet. You know, like there's the executive business aircraft. He's the son of the guy that created Lear Jet, so he's very, very rich, right? That's his house. Well, that guy in the building is the bodyguard of John Lear. And I went to that house a few weeks ago with the bodyguard to have lunch with John Lear. And when I went inside, he took me into one of the den or wherever, and there was this wall of VHS tapes, and they were all labeled with things like Roswell event or incident, something incident. And there was all of these like tapes. So my dad, he looked over at him and he asked John Lear, he said, what are all those about? I hope you don't mind if I ask, what are those about? And my dad's explaining this to me, so I'm relaying to you what my dad said to me, okay? I wasn't there. So the bodyguard, John Lear shoots a look to the bodyguard shoots a look back to Lear and goes, it's all right, he's ex-military. That's what he said. Then John Lear tells my father, who is relaying to me this day, John Lear said he used to be, the way I remember it, and I hope I get all the details as close as I can remember, because this is a long time ago. He was at one point FBI, and at one point he was CIA. He did all these high-level things, and he actually got transferred to Area 51. Okay? And he said his job at Area 51, which is, by the way, the nuclear test site. Okay? Nuclear test site, where we invented the nuclear bomb. Okay? And his job was reverse engineering alien craft, trying to figure out how they worked. That's what his job was. And he said he was there for a few years, and then one day the commander said, brought him into his office and said, hey, we're moving you down a couple levels, and I need you to look at this. And he hands him a vanilla folder. And my dad's telling me this, and you need to understand, my dad saying this stuff is absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous that my dad would say these things to me, okay? He hands him the envelope, and he pulls it out, and they're black and white photos of living alien beings. And my dad's like, well, what do they look like? He said, well, there was several types. He said, there's, of course, the gray that we all know with the big eyes, the short stature and the big eyes. There's ones that look exactly like humans, but they have more like cat-like looking, or where they have these like their eyes are more elongated. Their pupil is like not round; it's like elongated, more like a cat. And I'm thinking about it. Are cats' eyes even like that? Anyway, and he said those type of aliens apparently can even walk around, and they just wear sunglasses. You don't even know, right? Like, oh, and then this next one is what I thought was like, wow. He said there's these cockroach-like aliens that they're very tall. They've got even antennae, but they're like these big cockroach-looking like aliens. And then it kind of clicked for me, something that I had seen in Valley of Fire. Valley of Fire has all of these they're called Hekigan Japanese. As a tour leader, I always talked about petroglyphs, so I knew where they were in the valley. I would point to them, and I learned what they meant. Like a circle was a water spring, and a hand mark was the signature of the author. Like I had learned them, but some of them only had question marks after them, and they had given some of the petroglyphs were given a they think it means this, and one of them is this cockroach-looking creature with antennae that stood taller than humans, and it's literally labeled on the sign at the entrance of this area where they list. It says mysterious bat woman, and no one really knows. But you have to understand, the Anasazi Indian disappeared. They don't know. There's a theory that they split up into separate tribes, but they all of a sudden were not in the area anymore 4,000 years ago, right? My dad's telling me something. Oh my God, that's got to be what that is what I was thinking. I was tying it all together. So my dad, he's telling me about the conversation they had. So he's like, well, he asked like, well, why don't they tell the world about it or something like that? And I only remember partial answer on this, but apparently there was an incident where the humans were eaten by one of the races. There was some bad incident that if that ever got out, it would be a problem. And then my father was like, well, how did they get here? And then John Lear says, well, there's two types of gravity. There's gravity A and there's gravity B. And he goes, this, and I don't remember which one was which, by the way. He's like, this is gravity A. It's just the gravity to the Earth. Then the other gravity is what holds the nuclear, it was the nuclear bond gravity, which keeps the electrons rotating around the nucleus of an atom. And I'm like, oh my God, it's all making sense to me now. I start tying things together, right? When did aliens first come? So they split that atom, by the way, and they use that power of gravity, whatever that is, to propel or go vast distances fast. And I'm thinking that's why the Roswell event happened in Arizona, or New Mexico, in New Mexico, where this is the first officially like the first time that the government, someone in the government said we've captured a flying saucer, is what they said. So this is a very famous. If you don't know about it, it's famous in America. I know a lot of people around the world watch. You're not all just Americans watching, but this is like very lore type stuff in America. Everyone knows about it. There's been fake autopsy videos about it and movies about it. The Roswell incident, right? But anyway, I was thinking, well, White Sands, New Mexico, which is near Roswell, is where we tested the nuclear bomb. Initially, we developed it there. So it makes sense that the aliens were in that area looking at what we're doing, and it makes sense that there's some relation to aliens at Area 51 too, because that's also a nuclear testing site. I was thinking that at the time. I think that. Oh, and then my dad was like, "Well, aren't you worried about? Keep in mind, this is like 20 plus more years ago, right?" He says, "Aren't you worried about them hearing you telling me all this stuff? Aren't you in danger?" He said, because my dad said, "Don't you think the place is bugged?" I said, they don't bug anymore. That's not how they do it. They said from a satellite, they can, this is what he said, from a satellite, they can look at the vibrations that are in this house, and they can account for fan noise and air conditioning and everything. And from 3 days ago, they can see what we said. They know what we said 3 days ago. I've never heard any, even nowadays, I have not heard anything fantastic like that. Even like, so that's not something my dad would invent. Now, certainly, it's all possible that John Lear invented all this stuff, but John Lear, as I researched later on, is completely into the UFO world. Like he is completely involved with the UFO world. I'm sure he's considered crazy by a lot of people. I don't know. Now, end of the story coming. I'm sorry, I have to apologize. There's no good ending to this story. I have a few things to say ahead of that. Just to talk about, because it started talking about religion. Before I get to the very, very end of the story, once I started learning about astral projection, jintai ridatsu, I believe. I think it's jintai ridatsu, if I were in Japanese. Anyway, once I learned about it, I decided I was going to try to. I was going to go to the end of my sleep paralysis where the devil was there, quote unquote, again. I was going to do it again. And I told my wife, next time, if you sense that I'm having one of those, don't wake me. I told her that. Of course, she didn't even notice when it happened. And I decided I was going to go to the end. So this is still really early on in my marriage. I'm maybe 24. And I have it. And I feel comfortable now that it's not the devil. I feel comfortable that when I have this, I'm going to be able to leave my body and go further. So in my past where I've had astral projection, it's always been like very close to where I am. I've never been far away, from my body. I've always been just kind of looking down. And I guess some people apparently sink. And one of the theories is this one you go to heaven and this one you go to hell. Thank God that doesn't exist, that I didn't go down, because that means I'm not going to hell, I guess. Although probably I should. Dumb joke, sorry. Anyway, so I decided to go again, and it starts like normal, but this time it's like, when you do this to your eyes, and you just kind of, if you ever do this, like you hold your eyes really tight, don't do it too tight because it hurts, but just push a little bit, and you start seeing these lights, right? Just do it right now, and you'll see what I'm saying. And like these lights start swirling around, and you see these different like kind of colors muted against the black. Oh God, that hurts. That's what was happening inside my eyes, but a lot more swirling. And I had already decided. I loved Death Valley so much, by the way. I was going to get married in Death Valley. I really loved Death Valley. This is before I was married. We were living together for a year before I got married. But I decided I'm going to go to Death Valley when I astral project because I love Death Valley. Okay? So it starts, and there's no presence. No one's there. Good for me. I'm not scared, and I let it keep going. And I think I have to remember I want to go to Death Valley. And instantaneously, I'm in Death Valley. But here's the cool thing. It wasn't night. It was day. And I want you to know, I've been to Death Valley maybe 300 times. I always volunteered for the Death Valley trip because I love to tell my UFO story. And I just generally love Death Valley, okay? I took Brad there when we went. Me and Brad went. We had a blast. But Brad's the guy that's in the Discord that helps with our contests. Anyway, I'm in Death Valley. I'm standing there in Death Valley. At a place I've never been, but I know I'm in Death Valley because I felt the motion to get there. And I'm standing on this incline going up, but I realize I don't have a body. There's nothing there. And I look down, and it's just like this clear gelatinous thing. But then, and I'm thinking, wow, what do I do? And I look over, and now there's a creature. Stream complete. My stream is not complete. Hang on. No. My stream is not complete. I don't know what just happened. Hang on. How far did I get, guys? No. I'm back up. Tell me where I was. You guys. No, I'm still here. Hit refresh. No, what's happening? Hang on. I got to talk to you guys. Hang on. I'm still here. I'm almost done. God is stopping me. Oh, I never left? It died for me. For me, it says video output is low. You heard everything? It glitched for a second? Okay, hang on. Let me hit refresh. I don't know what's happening. For me, it said the stream was over. Okay. So anyway. I look over, and there's this clear being. I can't even explain it. It's like a short version of those, those things that wave at the gas station? But it was like a short version of that, but it wasn't moving like that. It was like this. And it was also a clear body like my own. I looked over, and it nodded out. It didn't say anything. It just went. There was two of them, and they were like, one was like, it's all good, man. That was what he was reassuring me, that it was okay. Because I was wondering what was across the hill. So I start running up the incline, and I'm running really fast. And I notice that the the vegetation in the area, like I don't think there was yucca trees or anything like that. I don't know if there's actually yucca trees in that particular area. But these things were going right through me, and I heard the sound going. It was really cool. Okay. And then I just thought for a brief second, could I fly? And all of a sudden, I was flying. I was flying randomly in the air, and I felt the wind just going right through me. Right? And then the thoughts were going fast, and I thought, wow, I wonder if I could do this in water. And instantaneously, I was in the ocean. This is in my astral projection, right? Astral projection. I'm in the ocean, and I'm still going the same speed, but now fish they don't know that I'm there. They're not moving out of my way. They're just going through my body. Okay? And I thought, oh, I'm cold, and all of a sudden a warm oval of air, not air, but like water was around me, and I wasn't cold anymore. That's where that memory ends. I don't remember leaving. That's the last part that I remember, is that. There was one more time there's one more time that's not connected in any way. I was laying with my wife in bed. This is maybe like a year later in a new apartment, and we were sleeping together, and I started astral projecting, but I went into her body. It was the weirdest thing. I went into her body, and I know this is weird, guys. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be weird. I was in her lungs, and I could hear the sound of the air coming into her lungs, like. It wasn't like normal breathing. I was in her lungs. Is that weird? And then that transitioned to me in an apartment, not like the one we were in. This never happened, luckily. I don't know, man. It could be this room right here. I literally don't know, but it doesn't make any sense. But as an entity, I went into this apartment. There was nothing in the apartment. It literally had carpet. Maybe I'm mapping my current memory onto it. I don't know. But I went up the stairway, and I went into a room, and there was this lady who was my wife, and she was sitting at a kotatsu, sitting like on her knees like the Japanese normally do, but she had a black veil on like she had just been to a funeral, and she was crying. That's the only memory I have. That's probably just a weird dream, but that happened. Anyway, I'm going to try to end the story, and then I'm going to try to wrap it up, and then I'm going to finally look at some comments. I haven't looked at any comments. Apparently my video output's low, although it's showing that I'm full streaming here. I don't know. Let me hit stop just for a second because I'm getting concerned. Hang on. All right, I'm back. It should still connect. Everything should still be the same video and everything. I don't know. It says stream health that the YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Viewers will experience buffering. Okay. Anyway. End of the story is not good. I apologize. The last thing that happened in this story so far, I still get those paralysis things, and I still feel weird entities in the room, but I wake up out of them. I'm pretty good at getting out of them now. I can move my body just enough to get out of it, and then I fall asleep again, and it doesn't happen again. But I notice the pattern. It's always when I'm really exhausted, so I don't get exhausted like that anymore, so it doesn't happen as much. Anyway, I was in Death Valley, and I brought back people from Death Valley, and I told them this story. Because I was always telling them the stories, a young couple, and I'm bringing back, I think it might have been two couples, but I can't remember. I was bringing back one of the couples in the van to the Caesar's Palace. I pull into the back of the Caesar's Palace, and I'm going to drop them off at the top. On the top, you can get into the hotel pretty easily. And there's a security guard. I turn down into the road, and there's a security guard staring down the van the entire time as I turn down. And it's that guy from when I was 19 or 18. And he's looking dead into the van. And I'm driving. And I turn, and he tracks. And I track him, and I turn. That's it. I don't ever say anything to him. And when I come back down, he's gone. Never seen him since then. But I have told this story to a lot of people, so maybe I have done my duty. Maybe I've told people of the world about aliens. I don't know. I'm not making this up. Era, I'm not. if I made it up, it'd have a much better ending. I don't have a better ending. Now, I am literally going to write a novel about this, and I'm going to make things up. I have a whole idea to how I'll make it fantastic, and I'll tie more things together. But right now, I'm just telling you the raw facts of the story. It all started with me and religion, turned into aliens. And now, I'll end this by saying what I believe now. Because I did say I have religion. This started out as a trash on religion. But listen, in 2012, I watched the documentary The Power of Attraction. And it's a really fantastic, it's not a documentary, it's like, it's a movie of the book, The Power of Attraction. And it was fantastic, and it changed my life completely. And I was really doing bad in 2012. That was the year that I considered suicide, not super seriously, but I did think, why am I even here? I was that depressed. I was self-medicating on St. John's wort. Like, everything was bad for me because my business was failing. The economy had tanked. I hadn't paid myself in months. It was just really generally bad. And I had to close Japan Files down, which was my music business. It was like really important to me. It was the one big thing that I had ever done where I got to meet famous Japanese people and go to all these large corporations that you all know, Perfume, Morning Musume, AKB48. I had connection to all of those labels and GACT and Morning Musume. Some of the girls remembered my name the next time I saw them. It's just like, it was amazing. And I had to shut that down. It was a bad part of my life. And then 2 books in the same week. One, I started reading The 4-Hour Work Week, and the other one was that Power of Attraction book. I highly recommend you try to get that Power of Attraction thing, because it's hokey when you first watch it, but it starts to make sense when you really look at it. I don't believe it completely, but it was that moment that I realized, number one, I'm not happy with what I'm doing, and I decided that day I had to close down, Japan Files. That was when I realized I have to stop all this stuff, because I'm not making enough money. And the thing that does make money, which was always YesJapan.com, always YesJapan. Since I opened that website, it has not made money. There's never been we didn't make any money this month. It's always made thousands of dollars a month. And back in 2007, it was crazy making money. Before the crash, up until 2007, the money went up every month, and I think at one point it was like $25,000 or $30,000 a month. It was ridiculous. Luckily, books have taken over. The website completely tanked. I haven't updated the website well enough. Our competition is really good now. That's why I'm spending all this money on a new website. That's not related to this. Anyway, that Power of Attraction book taught me that, if you believe in something, the universe will somehow answer. It's the power of quote unquote positive thought. Now, I don't believe that 100%. I've already modified that to you can't just believe you want to speak German. As much as I want to speak French now, if I don't put the time in to study it, it's not going to happen. If I'm just sitting in my bedroom all day, I'm not going to become fluent in French. I'd have to put the action. Now, if I'm always out there trying to learn French, maybe I coincidentally meet the greatest teacher on earth. Then I meet another person like this girl Melanie that I talked to in Germany, or even Ancipital that knows some French, and they become great friends because of French. And then, oh my God, it's like, it's so coincidental. No, it's like, if you put your heart out there, if you put this message out there to that you are doing something, people will be delivered to you that can help you. It's countless how many coincidences happen in my life that deliver me the exact person I need at that moment. You know what I'm saying? So it happens so much that when I watched The Power of Attraction, it wasn't like opening new doors, like, oh, that's what they call it. That's what they mean by random shit happening to help you get what you want. It's the people that try that get it. And you've heard this before, most likely, that people make their own luck. That's what that is. I believe, and I talked about this a little bit. I started it in the Tissue Box channel video called Unseen Forces. I was going to talk about it, but then it went crazy funny. But we have the magnetic field. We can't see, but it affects us. It protects the earth, right, from the sun rays, from the sun, the sun flare, right? It's why we're not radiated here. Birds use the magnetic field and monarch butterflies, they use it. They can use it somehow. They can somehow sense it. We have electrons that we can't see that we make electricity with. We have gravity that pulls us to the planet that we can't see, but it affects us. So why couldn't there be this other force that we don't know about that interacts between people, that pulls things. Maybe there's an unknown force in the universe that we don't understand that does that. And that's kind of what I believe, that that's a very strong possibility, because things happen when you try. It's like, if you're religious, it's the same force, I think. That's what I think. I think that there is this force. It's no name. There's no name to it, okay? Let's just call it a force, okay? And you pray to God or Allah, or this is why every religion is true. This is why when you believe in a religion, you have anecdotal evidence of God answering your prayers or Allah answering your prayers, because you're praying to this whatever thing. We don't know how to explain it. We don't know what it is. I want something and I put it out there and it happens. A lot of times it comes and it gets delivered to me. But of course I'm trying to do it, right? So it happens. And if you believe in God and you're trying and you pray to God and it happens, you attribute it to God. And that reinforces a religion. That gives you your anecdotal evidence, right? And of course, strange things happen in our brain that make me think that there's an alien talking to me, right? There's strange things that happen in all of our brains. We get paranoid. By the way, I saw a TV show many years back that could induce sleep paralysis on people, and they all said that there were aliens or something there. And they believed it, even though it got induced. So I think it's just a natural phenomenon. Maybe. Don't know. But I do think that religion is all possible, and what I believe is all possible because there's just some overlying force. And I don't think that force actually knows who we are. I don't think it cares who we are. I think that's why bad people, they also can use this force and get. If you wanna kill somebody, and you put it out there, the universe is gonna give you the opportunity to kill that person. It's gonna let things line up. Oh man, I was so lucky. I wanted to kill Jeff, and Jeff just happened to be there at this one time where I just happened to have my gun. You know what I mean? It's like it's all things lined up. So that's my quote-unquote religion. What I don't believe is this fantastic, very detailed story that we've created. And then Joseph did this, and then Abraham, and yeah, there's history involved there, and you could prove parts of the Bible based on historical fact. Of course you can. But the things that happen in people's brains and the way that they interpret events is pure anecdotal. It's not. There's no way to prove that Jesus died and came back 3 days later, when there's other religions that have gods where where it's the sun that does the equinox, and it's at a certain position for 3 days and then it reverses direction and it comes back up. That's probably what Jesus. They're mixing all these religions. There's all this pagan stuff all this pagan stuff that got adopted into Christianity. There's parts of the Bible that they rejected when they put the books together. It's too much evidence from my perspective to say we figured it out. I don't think us. Do you realize how small we are? If you just go on the internet and look, the size of the Earth. Of course, you have to believe that we're in a universe and that the Earth is round and all that stuff. But the size of the Earth, look at it, and then compare it to the sun. 1 million Earths fits in the sun. Then look at the sun and compare it to the next largest star and the next largest star, and keep looking. And as you do, even the sun, which can hold 1 million Earths, becomes this tiny 1 pixel, and eventually you can't even see it. And the sun would fit in billions of times or whatever in this other star. So we're in one galaxy, one Milky Way, yeah? This spiral galaxy, the Milky Way, and we're kind of in the middle, near the edge, kind of near the end here, on one of the outer rings, the outer spirals, right? On this piece of Unco planet we're on. We're a piece of dust, and we're humans. So we're even infinitesimally smaller than the planet, but we figured out God. That's what I think. Because there's 200 billion stars in the Milky Way, but then we find that there's 200 billion plus more of those Milky Ways, and we figured it out. I don't think we did. I'm sorry, I just don't think we did. But that's my opinion. And I have no way to prove it, just like you have no way to prove it. So stop sending religious stuff to me. It doesn't affect me. And if you really think about it, how many people in your life have you got to believe in God if you're religious? How many people have you turned into God? How many I would say, without any fact at all, that probably 90% of anyone that's religious is only religious because they were indoctrinated when they were young. It's 90% of the time. There's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be people. There's Japanese people that become Mormon. But I talked to my Mormon missionaries who were in Japan for a year, and I said, how many people did you convert? And they said, well, most times you don't convert anybody. If you're lucky, you convert one. So it's not like it's an easy thing. So it's because we're indoctrinated. And my daughters don't believe in God at all. And I am open to the idea of this, at least in a sense. And I tell them the reason why you don't believe is because I don't believe. I indoctrinated you into my belief. I'm very well aware that I do have a set of beliefs and have indoctrinated my daughters into them. Okay. And I remember when my daughter was younger, she wanted to go to this big church event, and I said no. And she railed against me for not letting her go. Said, you just don't want me to find religion. I said, yeah, you're absolutely right. I do not want you to find religion. All right. That's all. Whew. Let's look at some comments. I just really came in here to make a quick little video. Let's pop out chat. Give me a second. I'm not going to probably read too far up high. How do I get to this? How do I get to this window? That's not the right window. There we go. God dang it. I keep trying to drink out of that. Very deep discussion going on about this. It was a very deep video. Dude22072 says, I want to work in the music industry, but I live in fucking Nebraska. Not exactly likely I'd succeed. Very, very, very on target for what we were talking about. Thank you for that amazing comment, Joseph. Whole Notice says, I never really believed in God. My parents never forced me to go to church. And in turn, I never had the need to go. Tell a poor kid in India working near poop that he just has to think positive. Now, I want to tell you something, Alexi. You're right. It's thinking positive alone doesn't do anything. But if you make efforts, plus think positive, and tell the universe this is what you want, there are people in India that have made it. Is it easy in India? No, it's definitely a lot harder. They're definitely in a worse area. Did the streams for Japanese or Korean stopped? Yes. Yes. They stopped for now. I'm working on revisions of the books. I've said this a million times. Quick little video. And George Tromby live streams are antonyms. Yes, this one comment. Okay. Oh my God. If I chat right now, can I be on the big screen? Yes, you can. Thank you, Kelvin, sorry. Religious people getting triggered. Haha. Is anyone getting triggered right now? Honestly, look, if you are really religious, I don't mean to be rude, but you have to understand, I'm surrounded by religious friends. Like many of my best friends are religious. Sarah believes in God. Some people, I'm not going to say their name, but you know who you are. My friend, the co-owner of From Zero, is religious. And he goes to Mexico and builds houses with his church. He's very religious. But I'll tell you what, every time I remember these religious, I'm like, how are you so smart? Because I think it's the dumbest thing that you have fallen into this fantasy book. That's what, to me, my initial impression is if you say you believe in God, you are dumb. That's just me. And I'm not saying that you are, because I know a lot of people that are smart that believe in God. I believed in God at one point. And even as late in my life as 24, after I had thrown away God, I found a letter randomly in letters to my wife where I told her how I needed God in my life and that I found God again. So God had a big hold on me, and it was hard for me to let go of it, obviously. Okay. And by the way, the only reason I got back into religion was because I was doing Amway. And Amway was very religious in my upline group. Amway is this selling group thing. Don't worry about it. Yes, I appreciate religious people who don't force it up on each other too. Yeah, I really do. That's the best way. George, you should really watch a video of this guy, Walter Vaith's life story, an hour and 27 minutes. It's similar to yours, and things happen in his life, and some guy knew everything. It's not just with aliens. Okay. I'm not going to watch it right now, but I'm going to open up a tab and look. Dr. Walter Vate's personal life story from an atheistic evolutionist to a creationist. As a former evolutionist and having taught evolution for many years, Professor Vave's life-changing testimony is an amazing witness to but he's religious. Why am I going to watch that? The thing is, the people that believe what they believe it wholeheartedly. Of course, he's going to be very amazing to watch, I'm sure. But I'm just going to be like, oh, God, not another religious guy, please. Trust me, I have had blue-in-the-face discussions that go for hours talking about God. And you can't get anyone to even partially back off from the religion. Okay? I think one time I was able to get Sarah, my friend Sarah, to say, yeah, I guess it's possible there's no God. Briefly, she said it. And I've said, you know what? It's possible there is a God. Because I really don't know. I believe in this power that exists that in the universe so much because I look at quantum physics and how an atom could be in all states at one time, and then when we observe it, it becomes this one state. It's like those sort of things all affect me in my way of thinking, but I think that it's so powerful that if you believe your religion, that's exactly what happens to you. Like what if it's all true? What if Mormons are right and Jehovah's Witnesses are right? I don't know. Yeah, but I'm never going to call you dumb for not believing. Charlotte, people have called me dumb for not believing. They feel bad for me. They feel so sad for me. They just want to help me out. They're sad that I don't believe, and they think I'm ignorant to God. I've met those people. I am one of those people that thinks if you believe in God, look. This is best friends believe in God. My best friends believe in God. And some other best friends don't believe in God. And I like them both equally. Okay? But I still think that part of them is dumb. Like, come on. Come on, man. Because even me, yeah, I just told you where I had this experience of aliens. But I don't think, oh my God, that's exactly what happened. I don't know what happened. I only know how I interpreted it. And I don't know what the power of attraction is. Because there was another time I was watching that Ancient Aliens show because it's fun to watch. It's really, really makes you think when you watch it. It makes one wonder. They always say that phrase. But they talked about the Akashic field, this Indian belief thing. And I was like, what is that? And it made so much sense to me. So I read a book called The Science of the Akashic Field. And it was fantastic. Like amazing. And I thought that makes a lot of sense. So maybe that theory could be true. I don't know. I am open to discussion. Except when you quote the Bible as the proof of the Bible. That's the one problem I have with religion more than anything. It's like, why is the Bible true? Well, it says right here, the Bible's true inside the Bible. Therefore, it must be true. Jack says, no, don't watch that video. Anyone who says evolutionist to Christian doesn't know what they're talking about. Evolution has nothing to do with theism or atheism. Yeah, see, I believe obviously in evolution. But I think if there's a God, why couldn't religious people just say, he put that into motion? That makes a lot of sense to me. I think if there's a God, he set the rules to the universe and let it go. And that's, if you watch my video, I actually talk about this in a poem on the Tissue Box channel. It's called My Garden, I think is what it's called. My Garden. And My Garden is a religious story that I wrote. Because I think about this stuff a lot. I actually think about religion a lot. Because I don't know. And I still want to know. I hope when I die, I find out. Because honestly, I already gave myself to the Lord, so I'm saved. Whatever I do, I'm saved. Keep that in mind. That's how that works. Yeah, honestly though, I wish it was the other way around where he was religious and he got away from religion. Then it would be more interesting for me to listen to. You know what I mean? George, if you haven't seen yet, there's a documentary about the law of attraction called The Secret. Yes, that is you missed that part of the stream where I said that is a life-changing documentary to me. I love that. And I've showed it to many people. I bought it in Japanese. I showed it to my Japanese friends. I don't do it now, but when I was really into it a few years back, when I meet people that I think need that kick in the butt and the realization that they're stopping themselves with their negative words, because I really truly believe the minute you, because literally everyone I know that's not successful sounds like this. Well, I just can't because, with this happening and that happening and blah, 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 blah. All excuses about why they can't. And everyone I know that is successful says, I'll find a way to make it happen. No matter what, I'm going to make it happen. It's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. And it's this drive that they have. I have it too. I have the exact same thing, and that's why I'm successful. I built up. The universe delivered to me when I said I wanted it. I didn't just say I wanted it. I showed it through action that I wanted it. Can I get a link to the Tissue Box channel? I can't find it for some reason. I actually made a quick link to it, I think. It's here, I'll link you to that video that I'm talking about. I don't know, man. If you type Tissue Box channel in YouTube, it's the first thing that comes up. For me, at least. Now, not every one of my videos is deep on this channel, for the record. You guys can't hear this properly. Just through my speakers. Okay, so this is just literally me with Tissue Box. My 3 deaths, by the way, that's a pretty deep one for me. Me is in denial. They're all fun stuff. This is the talking stuff down here. And any stuff with blue. My garden. A short diary entry. Oops. What happened? What happened there? It's this one right here. The Country Dilemma is one of my favorite ones. They exist and unseen forces. These are all this is all from my heart. This is my fiction and non-fiction writing that has nothing to do with Japanese or Korean. I just haven't been up here for a while. It's been maybe a month and a half. It's been a month since my last video. I have more to release. There's more that I want to make. I've just been too busy. I'm disappointed in myself because this was an important thing to me, but I'll bring it back. I just got to get these revisions out. Yeah, I know you weren't able to hear it. Yeah, I knew that. You could only hear it through my mic. But I've already showed that enough on these videos. I'm not going to recap, guys. Are you kidding me? I cannot recap. There's no recap. That's an hour and a half of really dense things that I was saying. My next language lesson, I don't know. I mapped out 7 Japanese and 5s that I would like to do. And honestly, right now, till the end of the year, nothing. I'm crunching to get these books out. And I probably should hang up right now anyway. So I'm going to do that. Charlotte Clark, you make it sound like I'm crazy. George can astral project. Thank you. That sounds crazy. I'm very well aware of how crazy that sounds. But please watch the story in context. I don't know what that means. All I know is stuff happens. Stuff happens. Did I get any? Steven actually responded to that in the actual thing. Did you get any response from the 16 Korean girls that you talked to? Yes, one of them is my best friend. I actually answered that question right before the stream when I told some girls that I was a male penis. Oops, I didn't want to say that word. When I was a male part, I said, "Hi, my name is male sexual organ." By mistake, I screwed up my name. In Jaji, it's Jaji, is what that is in Korean, and I'm Joji, so I screwed it up. I was here for all, but I still missed what the one comment was. Someone sent this to me. This is where it turned into this unexpected story that I wasn't going to tell it. But someone sent me this to a video about I have a request for you all. It was just me asking you to give me on the Japanese from Zero channel. And they sent me all these links, Islam guide, the key to Islam, Share Islam. It's obviously some robot. Why would they send this to me? It makes no sense. I would throw it away, but I'm not in this account anymore. So it started out with like, why do people waste their energy on this stuff? Well, thanks, Papa Bear. That story to me, that's the story of. I wish it had an ending. Honestly, I hope there can eventually be an ending to the story. I am going to turn that into a novel, but it's going to be fictionized because it's too fun. In my novel, I don't want to ruin it for you. I'm not. There's a really cool thing I'm going to do in the novel that really ties it together, and it would be really cool if it actually happened, but I don't think it will. It's actually more realistic now with the way I am in my life that it could happen that way that I want to do in the thing, in the book. Mame Sushi, I'll never tell the code word, of course. I can't tell you the code word, or else then anyone can fake it and tell me. I think the problem in American religion is that the emphasis is all on rules / morality, knowing things for sure. Let me quote the Bible at you, and our religious in-group is better than yours. It's not just America, it's also Korea. Koreans are super religious, and they're really aggressive when they find out that I don't believe in God. And I high-five people when I find out they don't believe in God. It's like, do you believe in God? 하나님을 믿어요? And they're like, 안 믿어. I'm like, high-five me, because we can talk normal. You're not going to have any weird restrictions on your life based on this morality that religion tells you must be. I don't have to worry about offending you. Do I have a Chinese name? Yes. Zhao Zhi. Just George in Chinese. Zhao Zhi. I don't take Chinese names. I always think that's dumb. What, like Chinese people take an American name, and Japanese people don't do it as much. The Chinese and Korean people like to take an American name, and then some Americans follow that by taking like a Korean name or a Chinese name. I think it's dumb. Why? I'm just Zhao Zhi, which is George in Korean. I mean in Chinese. Or Joji in Korean. Or Joji in Japanese. I think religion is best when it's about beautiful rituals and music and connections with nature and the dead. Oh, and other people and the dead. I want to visit a Shinto shrine in Japan. I love Japanese religion. If I was going to be any earth-made religion, it's Buddhism. I really love the tenets of Buddhism from what I've seen. Every time I read something from the Buddhist, like what Buddhists think, even though the original Buddha, he was like, this is not a religion. He said that. But anytime I read something about Buddhism, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how I think. That's pretty good. I really like that. And Japan is so chill about religion that they're just all about it being part of tradition. And I like that about them a lot. I do really like, and I don't know if this is appropriate to say, but the black churches where they've got the really cool music, and I don't know any of the songs, but they're all like whatever you see in the movies. I've never seen it for real, but I would love to go see that for real. Like a Baptist church in like Georgia, like all black. It's got to be all black because that's what in my mind it is, like the all black church where they're just the mute, like you got these big fat women. I'm sorry, this is my very stereotypic impression of all these big fat ladies with these amazing voice, and they got the preachers like, and for some reason I'm just thinking of the Jefferson song where we're moving on up to the top of that level of like energy in a song. Sorry, I gotta find something and watch it now. See, Jeffrey, who needs morality? You say that? This is the thing I hate about religion. But where do you get your morals from if you don't have a religion? I have morals. I am a very stand-up guy. I treat people fair. I pay people a fair wage. I love my wife, my children. I am a stand-up guy. I don't need God to tell me those things. And you tell me that the people that believe in religion are all of a sudden awesome moral? No, they're not. They're some of the worst offenders because what they do is they put all these restrictions on themselves, and then they completely go against what they believe because they lose control. Look at all these Catholic priests that are raping the boys. Come on, man. Like, that's a bad example, but everyone that's anti-gay, why are they suddenly always gay, right? It's all these people that say gay conversion therapy works, and then they are gay. It's like, come on, man. It's like, don't be in denial. I don't know where I'm going with that. Sorry. Gospel music. That's what I'm talking about. Gospel music's awesome. I love that. They get so pumped. Oh man, I want to see. I don't know if you've ever been to a black church. I know it's a real thing. I do want to go see one though. But you don't want to be that white guy dancing along. Oh no, I do. I absolutely do. I love that. I would love that feeling, man. That dorky, like, cause I don't know. This is my very racist thing, but black people dance really amazing, and I am that white guy dancing. I am the epitome of that stereotype. Oh my gosh, you guys are all saying the right things, yes. Being vehemently anti-gay usually comes from a point of self-hate. Yeah. I don't disagree with that. Yeah. Like, they hate that they're gay. I mean, it's got to be horrible. Like, it's definitely better now, but even this kid the other day, I don't know his name, this 9-year-old kid killed himself, you know? He told his mother he was gay. He was so worried about it. And his mom's like, it's totally okay. You know, he's like, and he was so excited, you know, that she was okay with it. And he was so released from the burden of being gay, you know, the burden of being gay and secret about it. And he wants to dress up more like a girl, and he started painting his nails, and he went to school, and 5 days into school, he killed himself. Certainly this video is demonetized, but because people bullied him, they said that he should kill himself, you know? How is that good? You know? How is that good? Why do you even care about do you have no self-value that your own beliefs have to be believed by someone else to make you be validated? Just believe what you want to believe, honestly. You'll notice that at no time in this video did I tell you to stop believing in God. I even said it's possible they're all true. I just think you're dumb. I thinking you're dumb does not mean I think you need to change your religion. I would hope you would. And all of my best friends have been through my discussions of me trying to get them out of religion. But guess what? I'm a horrible missionary for the other side because I've never been able to get anybody off of religion because no amount of my logic works for them. I'm not sure what you asked for life form 106. I know, look, this is my personal channel, honestly, so I don't think too much about doing a Japanese question, but yeah, just go ask someone. You know, Yo Dudes 567, I actually don't believe that the world is effed up. I think the world's amazing and it's the best it's ever been. Trump's bringing it back a little bit, but still, the world is amazing. I am very happy with the way the world is. Bass player gospel church. Okay, I'm going to do that. Not right now. I'm going to put that in a tab to watch later. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to watch that. It looks awesome. Okay, guys. I'm going to go. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming. I suppose I should mention that this channel, Polyglot George, just hit 4,000 subscribers. That's coming right on the heels of Japanese from Zero hitting 100,000 subscribers and Korean from Zero hitting 12,000 subscribers. It's small in the scope of the bigger channels, but I'm very proud of that. And I do believe that next month I should be getting my plaque, theoretically. No messages come to me, but I'll be getting my 100,000 plaque. Pretty excited about that. But that's all thanks to you guys. I appreciate it. I know that this channel is not what you expect. This channel is not about me speaking Japanese. It's about me being me. So if I'm learning French, I'm going to stream that. If I'm learning Chinese, and I have a lot of videos to release that are sitting in the queue. Good news is my video editor is moving to Arizona. He's going to have a better internet connection, and he's going to be able to properly upload those videos. Right now, I'm the guy that stops it because when I get busy, I don't want to upload. I don't want to review. I don't want to make a thumbnail. So he's going to start doing that. So that's said. But yeah, this is my personal channel. So if you're here thinking you're going to learn Japanese, you might learn something about Chinese. You might learn something about French or anything I'm talking about. Religion. You might see me playing a game. You'll see me reading this Japanese book with Kurumi. You'll see me playing that Detroit Become Human game. And, hang on, I'm going to end it with this. Hang on. I just got this. Guys, from Amazon Japan. I actually was waiting for a stream to open it up completely because I don't remember exactly what I bought. Okay, this is from Amazon. Amazon Prime. Okay. Other mail. I bought some new games. Oh wait, let me go to full screen, sorry. So I bought these games, which I will be playing. Let's go ahead and look at each one of them. I'm on Discord every day, Papa Bear, if you were asking. So this game is called Florab. So it's some cute. Take that off. I went pure hentai awesomeness. I will be playing this all on the stream. I will be playing Tonari ni kanojo no iru shiawase. Happiness being next to my girlfriend. I will be playing, I think that's what that translates to. Tonari ni kanojo no iru shiawase. The happiness of being, it says winter guest or something like that. I'll be playing this because it looks visually awesome. And, oh yeah! This is Boku Nasu no Kenkyu Nikki. So, this one looks a little bit perverted. Here's the thing. I don't want to play games when you guys aren't watching because it's a waste of my time. But if we're all together and it's building my YouTube channel, then I want to play. I need an excuse to play games because I don't play enough. And you guys are my excuse. So I will be doing that. I will not be playing Smash Ultimate because I will not be playing any Nintendo games. I have a Nintendo Switch, but I will not be playing any games produced by Nintendo because they have horrible streaming policies. That's it. No, I've not played Becoming Human since then. I've been too busy with the books, and I probably won't be playing for a while. Did I change shirts? No, I did not change shirts. Anyway, I gotta go. Thank you for watching. How long did I go? Guys? 2 hours. That's a good stream, guys. I'm gonna release this one as is. Thank you for watching. Thank you. I look forward to your comments. And I know this will probably be demonetized, but let's put it up there. Please keep your comments civil. Please don't be that guy in the comments on both sides. Respect each other. It's okay if you think someone's dumb, but don't tell them they're dumb like I just did. That's dumb. All right, guys. See you. Bye-bye.